Hello, everyone. Hello, comrades. Hello, viewers. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Joseph Ryan Banks. Some life updates. Some life updates have happened. I recently got married. If you can see that. That's my wedding band there. Got married to my beautiful wife, Rachel. It's really, really nice, and I could not be happier. It's literally the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life, and we had a super cool wedding, and I got a, Darth Vader helmet from her brother, I think, which is really, really cool and very ridiculous. But anyways, today we are going to be doing something a little fun. We're going to be taking this political typology quiz by the Pew Research Center. Now, you might have seen this already on some of your social media sites and some of the people that you follow, but their Pew Research Center has come out with a political typology quiz. I'm going on a quest to figure out my political leanings. Where do you fit in the political typology? Are you a faith and flag conservative, progressive left, or somewhere in between? Now, I've kind of poked around with this before and looked at some of the questions, and I just wanted to see what result I would get and kind of offer some commentary on the questions themselves and maybe shed some light on how limited they are, because it seems to be not the most well-rounded research questions to be asked. A lot of the questions seem to be very leading. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see what I get. We'll see my result. We'll find out if I'm secretly a fascist or not, which I probably am not, but we'll see. All right, so starting the quiz now. If you had to choose, would you rather have a smaller government providing fewer services or a bigger government providing more services? Well, I guess technically a bigger government providing more services, but, it's kind of a falsehood to say that, the United States isn't already a giant government that has over 800 military bases across the entire world. They're already an empire, but I'll say bigger government, more services. When you say you favor a bigger government providing more services, do you think it would be better to modestly expand on current government services or greatly expand on current government services? Well, considering that we have, in the United States, no public health care whatsoever. My cats are eating some honey mustard off of a plate. I'll be right back.
Yo, what is up, everybody? How's it going? How's it going, my Minecraft server guys? How's it going, my Minecrafters? How's it going, my Soviet Minecraft server goers? My Marxist Minecrafters?
We're going to get back into this thing here that we're doing. When you say you favor bigger government providing more services, do you think it would be better to modestly expand on current government services or greatly expand on current government services? I'm out of breath. Greatly expand on current government services because we have almost nothing for the majority of Americans. Anyway, for me, it's that previous. Let me just go back to that previous question. There's no room for an anti-imperialist position or an status quo kind of position. I can't. That you can't. It's similar to not being able to vote in communism. You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. People have voted in fascism very easily. That's how the Nazis took over. They actually were participating in elections, and then eventually they were, voted in, and then they seized more power once the opportunity came. But anyways, next question. Which of the following statements comes closest to your view? America's openness to people from all over the world is essential to who we are as a nation. If America is too open to people all over the world, we risk losing our identity as a nation. Considering the whole country is, built off of the back of slavery and immigrant labor and, stuff like that, I'm going to have to say America's openness to people all over the world is essential to who we are. It's a tactic by the bourgeoisie to pit laborers against one another and, to kind of use racism as a tool of class oppression, In general, would you say experts who study a subject for many years are usually better at making good policy decisions about the subject than other people, usually worse at making good policy decisions about that subject than other people? Neither better nor worse at making good policy decisions about that subject than other people. Really depends. Really depends, I think, because someone could study I mean, you've got bourgeois capitalist economists who, you know, study economics their entire lives, yet they start, you know, they try to lobby for or implement policies that are good for big businesses and absolutely terrible for the workers and laborers. But then you also have, you know, people who study the climate, you know, scientists, you know, you have scientists who are in particular fields that, you know what they're talking about, know exactly what they're talking about, have done the research, have done the scientific experimentation, almost said exploitation, the experimentation to know and have the data to back it up. So I would say usually better, you know, experts who study a subject for many years are usually better at making good policy decisions because they have more knowledge. You know, I feel like this question is very strange and kind of has like an anti-intellectual suggestion to it. Thinking about increasing trade of goods and services between the US and other nations in recent decades, would you say that the US has gained more than it has lost because increased trade has helped lower prices and increase the competitiveness of some US businesses? Lost more than it has gained because increased trade has cost jobs in manufacturing and other industries and lower wages for US workers? I would say the latter, because it is no secret that American laborers are seeing stagnating wages, and, you know, businesses are seeing record profits, you know, and it's been kind of like that for a while now at this point. How much more, if anything, needs to be done to ensure equal rights for all Americans, regardless of their racial or ethnic backgrounds? A lot, a little, nothing at all. Nothing at all. We're totally equal, guys. We're completely equal. No reparations need to happen at all. We absolutely have the most equal society in the entire world. Our society is equal. Nothing can stop us. A lot. We have absolutely not come close to an egalitarian sort of thing. Which comes closer to your view about what needs to be done to ensure equal rights for all Americans, regardless of their racial or ethnic backgrounds, even if neither is exactly right? Most U.S. laws and major institutions need to be completely rebuilt because they are fundamentally biased against some racial and ethnic groups. I flat out agree with that. While there are many inequalities in U.S. law and institutions, necessary changes can be made by working within the current systems. Okay, so this one's kind of thrown a bone to people who are like, we need to dismantle the system. You know, perhaps prison abolishment as an example. I think that's pretty good. Or, you know, not police reform. We need to abolish the police altogether. That's one example. Sorry. Which of the following statements comes closest to your view? Business corporations make too much profit. Most corporations make a fair and reasonable amount of profit. Business corporations make too much profit. Okay. How much, if at all, would it bother you to regularly hear people speak a language other than English in public spaces in your community? It would not really bother me at all because, you know, living in Florida, I hear people speaking Spanish and French and Portuguese and whatever, Chinese. We have in Florida, there's a very large Chinese American population as well. So I hear languages all the time, all over the place whenever I go out and about. You know, it's a melting pot. Florida is actually, you know, despite what it may seem, you know, and is in regards to its governance, it is a melting pot. So there's quite a lot of languages that are spoken, and it does not bother me one bit. In fact, I think that's pretty awesome. On a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 means you feel as cold and negative as possible, and 100 means you feel as warm and positive as possible, how do you feel toward Democrats? How do you feel towards Republicans? Next question. Which of these statements best describes your opinion about the United States? The U.S. stands above all other countries in the world. The U.S. is one of the greatest countries in the world, along with others. There are other countries that are better than the U.S. Harsh agree on that one. I am like the opposite of a patriot. Not an expat, because I have not left the country yet, but not yet. How much of a problem, if any, would you say each of the following are in the country today? People being too easily offended by things others say. People saying things that are very offensive to others. Is it a problem that people get offended when their feelings are hurt? Or is it a problem that people are hurting other people's feelings? People being too easily offended by things others say, not a problem. Just because you want to say the N-word, and just because you heard your parents say the N-word, parentheses, you're a white person that I'm speaking to, just because your family has said the N-word a whole bunch, and you feel like, oh, it's okay for me to say it. No, it's not. And if you say that on purpose, and you're like, oh, well, whoever got offended by me, then, like, you're the asshole. Which comes closer to your view of candidates... okay. Which comes closer to your view of candidates for political office, even if neither is exactly right? I usually feel like there's at least one candidate who shares most of my views. None of the candidates represent my views well. 100%. 100%, bro. 100%. None of the candidates represent my views well. There is not a Marxist-Leninist candidate. There's not an anarchist candidate. There's not even like a social democrat. You know what I mean? And social democracy is just happy capitalism. There's not even that. We've got two right-wing candidates, Kamala Harris and Trump. And one of them is funding a genocide currently, and it's not Trump. In general, how much do white people benefit from advantages in society that black people do not have? A great deal. The entire society is built off of white supremacy. Easy enough. Easy question. Do you think greater social acceptance of people who are transgender, parentheses, people who identify as a gender that is different from the sex that they are assigned at birth, is greater social acceptance of people who are transgender is very good for society? Yes. Someone... Oh my god. My wife is texting me saying, I'm sure you're asleep. She's on her break. Let me text her back really quick. I love you so much, baby, but... Not on my break. I mean, no, I'm not on my break. I'm working right now. I'm working. I'm making stuff. No, I'm just... Is this work? It's a question for another day. Very nice that you're on your break. I'm recording a video for YouTube right now. Taking a political quiz and reacting to it. Pogging.
A few moments later.
Oh yeah, I accidentally streamed for like a minute earlier, trying to get this video recorded. It's really funny. My friend just said, I missed it. What? The legendary elusive Joe stream. Dude, I'll stream at some point. I don't know when I'm going to get back to it, but, you know. Okay, back to this political typology quiz, because everyone wants to know everything about me, because I'm super popular and super hot and married. I'm taken. Back off, ladies. Overall, would you say people who are convicted of crimes in this country serve too much time in prison? That is a very, very loaded question once again, because some people do not serve any time for major crimes like wage theft, you know? You've got people, I mean, basically, prison is just institutional slavery all over again. So you've got people who get caught on weed possessions, and sometimes they get the fucking death penalty, you know? Or something like that. But then you also have people who, you know, I could scroll through my threads. There's a person that I look at who posts about pretty much every time a white Christian, you know, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, whatever, person is caught with cheese pizza or has done SA to somebody younger than the age of 18. And it's pretty horrifying. Here we go. See, I scrolled for about not even for 5 minutes, and I scrolled and found one. Arkansas police officer Arthur Cottrell has been arrested for possessing and distributing images of children being sexually abused. Yes, it's usually either a pastor or a police officer. Those are the two most common professions that tend to end up abusing children, you know, and abusing their positions of power over children or over women. Arthur Cottrell, 40, now former Pocahontas police officer, has been charged with possession, distribution, and or viewing of child sexual abuse material. He's free on a $25,000 bond. Free on bond. See, that's the thing, is that it's like, and going back to this question, This is different depending on who you're talking about. Do cops serve enough time for the amount of fucking people that they murder, or the amount of sexual abuse that they conduct upon, their victims? No, not enough time. Do black people get way overrepresented and way longer serving times? Yes, they do. Should prison be abolished altogether, and we should have other programs that adequately deal with these social problems that address poverty, that address the corruption within the police system? Yes, we need that too. That's what I hate about this quiz. It's so it's like BuzzFeed, It's like, ha ha ha. Which it's like, which Disney princess are you, except for politics? Which of the following statements comes closest to your view? Religion should be kept separate from government policies. Government policies should support religious values and beliefs. Sorry, there's a bug flying around my face. I don't know if you guys can tell. Religion should be kept separate from government policies. Yes. In the future, do you think U.S. policy should try to keep it so America is the only military superpower? It would be acceptable if other countries became as militarily powerful as the U.S. Absolutely no in-between on that. Either the United States is the military hegemon on the planet, or another country is as powerful as we are. I would accept that. Who am I? What's my zodiac? Outsider left. Hold up. Outsider left. What does that mean? Outsider left are the youngest typology group. They hold liberal views on most issues, particularly on issues of racial equality and immigration, and overwhelmingly vote Democrat. See, that I ranked the Democrats 0. I rated the Republicans on 0. Though nearly half of outsider left describe their own political views as liberal, only about 3 in 10 identify as Democrats. About half say they are independents who lean towards the Democratic Party. You answered, would you rather have a bigger government that greatly expanded on current government services? Yes. I did, and most people did not. Religion should be kept separate from government policies. Yes. Most people said no. Interesting. Or, I mean, what does that mean? Does that mean that most people... Why am I bigger on each one of these? Am I stupid? Can I not read statistics? Well, I certainly don't hold liberal views. I certainly would never vote for the Democratic Party, because neither of them represent the interests of the working class. Neither of them are parties that represent, labor, real working class labor. I actually am working on an essay currently talking about the labor aristocracy in the United States and in the Western world. And it's kind of its history and how it kind of came to be. To give you the skinny on labor aristocracy, basically, it's not just the bourgeoisie that benefits from the economic and imperial exploitation of third world countries that are in what is called the periphery to the core. The core is first world countries. Periphery is third world countries, because the rate of exploitation in relation to their wages that they gain is incredibly high exploitation versus very low wages. And so the exploitation that is conducted under imperialism leads to what is known as unequal exchange and super profits. Now, these liberals and Democrats and Republicans, everyone in the Western world that has a relatively good living standard, these people also benefit from this imperial system. And, wedge issues instead are distracted from class issues. Wedge issues become things about race or gender or identity or something like that, rather than, looking at things from a class perspective. Not to say that those issues aren't important or that they aren't inextricably tied to class, because they are. Your race has a lot to do with your class. Your class has a lot to do with your race, vice versa, But the degree of exploitation in the first world is far lesser than the degree of exploitation found in the periphery or in the third world, And so they're able to benefit They being liberals, you know, people who don't really, let's just say people who are still going to vote for Kamala Harris, even though she's committing a genocide right now. That is a very, very strong indicator of labor aristocracy. You know, that for them, genocide is not really a deal breaker. They're still okay with voting for her as long as they get their cut of the pie. You know, it's selfish and it has zero consideration for the consequences of American imperialism, because to them, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what American imperialists, you know, are able to do, because they garner the benefits from it as well. They get super wages that are derived from these super profits, from the super exploitation of workers in the third world. Anyways, that's enough of that. Race and immigration. America's openness to people from all the world is essential to who we are as a nation. 91% versus the people who said no. You answered, a lot more needs to be done to ensure equal rights for all Americans, and most U.S. laws and major institutions need to be completely rebuilt because of the fundamentally biased. They are fundamentally biased against some racial and ethnic groups. 63% versus 25%. Yes, okay, all right, sounds pretty good. It would not bother you at all to regularly hear people speak a language other than English in public spaces in your community. Yeah. Okay, so I answered 72% versus the people who answered 38%. No on that. You answered, white people benefit at least a fair amount from advantages in society that black people do not have. 90% said that versus 50%. These don't equal 100%. But that's okay. Maybe I'm just reading it wrong. If someone else can explain to me how these things are kind of how Pew Research Center is quantifying these things, then let me know in the comments. And I would love to hear what you have to say and tell me. Thermometer ratings. You rated 0 Democrats. You rated Democrats 0. Outsider left on average rated the Democrats 52. The general public on average rated Democrats 46. You rated Republicans 0. Outsider left on average rated Republicans 27. The general public on average rated Republicans 42%. I usually feel like none of the candidates represent my views very well. It feels like a pretty big amount. Feels this way. I'm very surprised that I got lumped in to people who think that either one are good. That seems kind of weird to me. And I'm not some like enlightened centrist, you know, big air quotes on enlightened centrist, because I'm a communist. I'm about as left as you can get, you know. And I mean like Marxist-Leninist, like supporting actually existing socialism that is out there in the world right now, like Vietnam or Cuba, you know, for example. Business corporations make too much profit. Yes. Greater social acceptance of people who are transgender is good for society. 70% answered what I answered. Okay. Overall, people who are convicted of crimes in the country serve too much time in prison. Yes. Okay. All right, cool. Now let's so I'm not, that seems weird that it put me basically right on the edge of center, which I don't agree with, because there's no wiggle room for someone who is anti-imperialist, you know? There's no room for somebody who basically wants to see the American empire crumble before their eyes. Like, people like that don't get a say in this whole situation, but, you know, this is what we have to work with, as based off of this really limited BuzzFeed quiz, basically. Well, why don't you guys share with me your results? You know, you've taken a look at what I've got. Let me know your results and tell me in the comments. Let me know in the comments below. What did you get on this quiz? Did you feel it reflected your feelings on the matter? Let me know if you also feel similarly on the fact that this is a very limited in scope, you know, sort of answers for you sort of quiz. You know, it's like basically on the level of BuzzFeed. I mean, the political compass that's got, you know, the Cartesianal axis where it's going up and down, left and right is already fairly limiting, and this is missing a whole axis, so it's even worse. It's even more limiting. But anyways, that's pretty much all I've got for you today in this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.